What's up, y'all? It's Anisha, and my mandate is to equip, encourage, empower, inspire, and ignite women to influence and impact their world, all for the glory of God. I am a wife, a mom, a ministry leader, a corporate IT leader by day, and a business owner and founder by night. I love all things Jesus, business, and letting my creative juices and imagination run wild. If you have found yourself here, I want you to go ahead, pull up a seat, because this is the PowHerhouse Podcast. Oh my gosh, y'all. I have an amazing woman of God in the building today. Okay, not the literal building, but y'all know what I'm saying. Like, I got somebody who is going to be on this podcast. I just love this woman of God. It's so God how we met up and connected and then reconnected after a while. God is just so faithful. So first and foremost, let me tell you, she is a lover of Jesus. She is a daughter of God. She is a grandmother. She is the founder of Moving Beyond the Middle. She is a visionary, entrepreneur, and all the things. You hear me? This woman of God, I love her. Her name is Bridget Adams. Welcome, my sis.
Hey, thank you so much. I love you, love you, love you, love you. And it definitely was all God is why we're here together today. Thank you for sharing your platform.
Absolutely. God is just so faithful. I promise you, I'm going to proclaim that to the day I die. Like, God is faithful. God is faithful. Yes, he is. He is just so faithful to do what he was always going to do anyway. So, woman of God, please, I already know you, but please let the people of God know a little bit about Miss Bridget Adams.
All right. Again, thank you. My name is Bridget Adams. I hail from Columbia, South Carolina. I am a mother to a 29-year-old daughter. I am a bonus mom. I am a grandmother to an 8-year-old. And I am a lover of Jesus and a daughter of God. I am just happy to be here today. I am an entrepreneur. All the things that God has for me, I am all the things. And my goal right now is just to walk in the will of God and just get all the things that he wants me to have. So thank you.
Absolutely. Like I said, I just love you so much. And I want us to talk today about the underpinnings of Moving Beyond the Middle. But before we get there, how did you realize, or when did you realize where your passion lies?
So back in 2017, I had an idea. I thought it was my idea of a women's group. I just all of a sudden felt a real strong urge to start a women's group. I never did because at the time I wasn't secure in who I was. My self-esteem was where I didn't think anybody would want to hear what I had to say. I wasn't really sure how the ministry would go, and not even a ministry at that point, a group would go, what it would look like. I had ideas about it. I wrote about it. I kept writing about it for years. And then in 2022, as I started walking closely with God, as I started really trying to hone in with God and build a relationship with him, I realized that this group that I thought was my idea was actually supposed to be a ministry. And honestly, God gave me the name, he gave me the colors, he gave me my tagline, everything. And it was from me one night just saying, I wanted to be the one to help the woman in the middle, the woman that's struggling and the woman that's in a stuck place and they don't really know how to get beyond that to fulfill the purpose. Or even if they don't even know that they have a purpose, they're so busy being a mom, just holding it in the middle, not necessarily having a bad life, right? Not necessarily coming from having a bad life, but just still going through things and not feeling like they have a bad enough story to where they needed to go to therapy or anything. They just didn't think that their issues were big enough. But what they don't realize and didn't realize is that it's what's keeping them stuck. So my mandate is to help push you beyond that stuck place. So that's how Moving Beyond the Middle was born. And then God Therapy Community. So walking with God, to hear him, to hear his voice, to pretty much tap into you and to see where your purpose lies with God. What you want to make sure you're walking in the will of God. And then with therapy to get over the barriers, any barriers that could be stopping you from even feeling like you're worthy enough to go to God, to talk to God, to do his will. And then community. When I started on my journey, I didn't necessarily have a community that I could lean on. Even as I started learning more about God and the things of God, I didn't really have a community. So my goal is to create a community so that when you start walking, you will have somebody that you can fall back on. Not even that, if you need therapy, I wanted to be able to build a community of therapists, just business women, things that when you start walking and you start walking in your purpose, my ministry could be a one-stop shop and I can say, hey, go talk to this person. So that was a lot, but yeah, so that's how we got here to moving beyond the middle.
No, that's good. That's good to hear like the backstory because for what I know, we all get to the place where God has called us to be so differently. Some of us just know straight out the rib.
Right.
Some of us, it takes a while. It takes some trial and error. It takes some stepping out in faith on some things and some things working and some things not. So I love that you shared a little bit of the backstory of moving beyond the middle and even some of, like, I guess, the guts of it too, as well. But what would you say really inspired you to finally just take the plunge? It was on your heart from way back when, and then you just made the decision. But what was the catalyst for you saying, you know what, God, I'm just going to trust you. I'm going to step out in faith and I'm going to start this thing that you put in my heart so long ago?
Honestly, God gave my friend a word. And literally in 2017, I put it together. She told me that she could see me teaching. And then it was after we went to that conference, we all went together and I spoke to her right after that. And she said, God says it's time. Now it's time. Because I'd already felt it very strongly, but I just didn't know what it looked like. And I received the word and God said, it's time. You need to do it between this and this. And I was like, okay. And honestly, that is the catalyst that pushed me to do it because God sent me the word and I knew that it was confirmation. But again, I just didn't know what it looked like, but it was a conference. So that is what pushed me to start the ministry.
That is so inspiring because
Mhm.
I believe so many people, they hear a word from God and then they do get the confirmation, but because they don't know what it's going to look like, because they can't see further than just what that word is, they stay right where they are and they never reap the benefits of what God had already put in motion for them. Like they let not seeing the big picture or not seeing the details, rather, stop them from doing it. So I'm just so proud of you. Congratulations
Thank
for
you.
stepping out in faith because that's hard. A lot of people don't
Thank
do
you.
that.
No, it
So
was faith. Yeah, for sure.
absolutely. And I think that's the thing people don't realize. The people who don't start what God told them to start, they don't realize that it's faith. It's not that anybody knows what they're doing 100% of the time. Most of us are still trying to understand and figure things out with God. We're going step by step, day by day, plan by plan, detail by detail.
Yeah.
We're just doing the work. So that's amazing. Hello, guys. Guess what? These PowHerhouse Academy doors are officially opened after months of gathering more resources, more tools, more insights. We are finally ready to open the doors to our newest cohort of Academy students. We have been waiting for you. I am so excited to pour out all that God has for you inside of this academy. Not only will you get the influx of the courses and the classes that we already have in the membership, but we have added some new courses. We've added some new bonus materials. Like, if you want to create a course, community, or digital product, PowHerhouse Academy is absolutely, unequivocally the place that you need to be. So head to ineedyourfavor.com/academy and you will find all other details there. I cannot wait to see you in class. So I guess I know it's centered around God, therapy, and community, right? What have you seen in terms of women and them being stuck? How have you seen therapy and community? Because we already know when God get in the picture, like it's a done deal. But we do know that people still need therapy. People still do need community. How have you seen that addition to people's lives transformed them?
I think therapy, and I can speak for myself too, because I had to make a decision to go to therapy. I knew I was in a place that it was a cycle. And so I knew that I needed to get past this. I knew that I needed to go to therapy. But I think therapy, I know that therapy, it makes you take a look at things. And for me, it was like not feeling worthy, my self-esteem, just not thinking that God would want to use me. And I think we go through so many things. We build up such defenses and we are made to believe certain things about ourselves until we can't see past ourselves, if that makes sense. And I think with therapy, it lays everything down and you can say, okay, yeah, this is, and normally a lot of times the way we feel is something that stems from childhood or experiences that we've gone through. And I think once we work through those things and realize I'm still that worthy person, God still can use me, I think that wakes you up. That wakes you up. And I honestly do think that keeps you, sometimes that type of stuff would keep you stuck. A lot of it is just feeling unworthy. So I feel like therapy clears your mind and it gives God a blank slate in a sense where he can move, that your ears are open and your heart is clear and you are allowing him to heal you. Because you have to acknowledge that there's an issue. Then you have to open yourself up enough for God to come in and clean your heart and make you anew and make you know that you are that worthy person. And I think once you get to that point, you can start walking in your purpose. But again, if you don't have support, which is why I love your ministry so much, because you give that support. If you don't have that community, that person to say, come on, girl, what you got going on? Let's look at it. What do you want to do? What's in your heart? You got to have support because we were not put on this earth to do life by ourselves. God did not put us on earth to be by ourselves. So I think all those things together, it's a holistic ministry in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would agree. Last year you did your first conference, which was amazing.
Thank you.
And you are welcome. And I can really see how God therapy and community really do tie together so well. I could just see, even from just the conference, like when the speakers were there and how you just integrated everything and everything was just so like holistic. And you can tell the heart that you have for the women and for them to be whole and for them to actually pursue everything God has for them. Everything that you said, guys, listen, everything that this woman of God has said it's so true. It is so absolutely true. I've definitely seen it with my own eyes. So what are your thoughts, right, on how to get unstuck in life? Your ministry is all about moving beyond the middle, that middle place where you're not quite going backwards or you're not quite going forward, like you're still just in the middle, floating around, just waiting. So what are your thoughts on that? Like, how can someone get unstuck in life?
I think it's to make the conscious decision to move.
Mm,
It's to take a step.
mm.
And I know as you walk, because you have an idea, right? As you start walking, God is going to start revealing more. And the more you allow him to reveal, the more faith you build. And that's going to just push you even more, but you have to start. And I'm not perfect. I still have issues sometimes, but you have to make a conscious decision. You have to make a choice, right? God gives us free. We have to make a choice that you're going to try your best to walk in whatever you're feeling in your heart, what you're called to, whatever you feel like you're called, just take a step. And if you're not going in the right, God will veer you. God will pivot you. God will move you. You'll move where you need to be. And just for an example, with the conference, I didn't have any money for the conference. I didn't have a budget. I had $0 is what I started with. And by the time I finished, the favor of God, because I knew it was God, this was God ordained and God financed this. Because by the time it was all said and done, I had money left over at the end of the conference.
My God.
So God, listen, God is faithful. If God told you to do something, if you feel it in your heart, do it. Because if it's God ordained, he is going to honor that. And he is not going to let his name, anything that his name is on, he is not going to let fail.
That's right.
He is not going to let fail. So take it from me. Just start walking. Find you a group of like-minded women that want to walk with you. Do that. That's going to get you out of a stuck place, because surroundings is everything.
Yes.
Surroundings is everything. Who you are around is everything. I promise you, as you start walking, as you start doing things, God is going to remove things from around you. You have to be ready for it, because sometimes that's the only way that you can get to where you need to be. Yeah. Yeah.
That was so good. It's so great to see other examples of women walking by faith and not by sight, and God showing up to do the thing that he promised them that he would do. Because you are so right, like taking that step, like that's how you get unstuck. And so many people overcomplicate it. Like they put all of these extra quote unquote steps that aren't, necessarily physical, but they put all of these other stuff in front of just taking a step, and it keeps them stuck because they feel overwhelmed, they feel frustrated, they feel like I can't do this or it's not going to make sense. And God is like, I don't need your input. I just need you to take a step.
Listen, I've been there. I have been there, and it wasn't easy. It took me a little minute. It was like an engine revving, and then finally cranking up and like, okay, get it done. And I'm not saying it's not scary. It is scary because it's faith.
Yes.
You don't see the end. You are literally walking with a blindfold, and you have given God your hand, and you say, God, lead and guide me because I trust you.
Yep.
That's scary.
Yeah.
We won't walk in the house with a blindfold on. We're going to stump a toe or do whatever, but we trust in God. And I'm still preaching to myself because it's constant. Like you have to make a conscious thought. You have to make a conscious choice every day to do something, because it's so easy to fall back into that stuck place.
Yes, it is. Oh my goodness, girl. If nothing else helps the people of God, I know for a fact that conversation right there just did. And what you just said reminded me of something. I believe it's by James Clear, but please don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure it was. And he said something. It's either, I don't know. Listen, this is what the person said, okay? So I don't lie. They said that becoming who you are is a daily process, because there's going to be people who are going to try to get you to do what they think you should do. There's going to be the world that tries to get you to do what the world thinks that you should do. So it's a daily fight for you to become who God has called you to be. It's not just a one and done thing. It's a daily, I'm taking this thing step by step, day by day. I'm fighting this thought. I'm fighting that thought. I'm coming into agreement with what God has said and staying on that path. And yes, it's a fight, but it's a fight that's worth fighting because you will win. So yeah, sis, thank you so much. This has been such an amazing conversation. I am sure that anybody who listens to this episode, they will absolutely be built up and edified, and they will actually be inspired to take a step. Because I don't know about y'all, but if let's just say I had a conference on the brain and I knew God was calling me to do it, and this woman of God just said she didn't have a budget. She didn't even have the money. And by the time the conference ended, she had literal money left over.
Yeah.
If that is not a testimony of God's faithfulness, hey,
yes, Lord.
Listen.
Lord.
So we thank you, woman of God, for being on today's episode. We cannot wait to have you back. But before we let you go, please let everyone know where they can find you.
So you can go to my website, and that's www.mbtmiddle.com, on IG and Facebook at MTB Middle. That's my tag. Or you can follow me, Bridget S. Adams, on Facebook. And I want you to go to the website. When you go to the website, I have a special gift on there. I just created a journal on one of our first publications for the ministry, and it's a free journal. So if you go to the website, on the first page, just scroll down and follow the directions. I would love to have you a part of my ministry.
Awesome. Amazing. And listen, guys, what I will do is I will link her website and her Facebook and Instagram pages in the show notes, so you guys can just go there, click it, take you to the website, and get that free gift. Because listen, I got a sneak peek of that journal. The woman of God did not hold back. Okay. That's all I'm going to say. It's an amazing gift. So I encourage you. Yes, I encourage you to do so. I love you guys, and I will see you guys on the next episode. Peace.